Mm. Blissful afternoon, YouTube. Welcome to my channel. This is Natural or Mutesi or Nokukanya. Whichever one you choose, I embrace all three of them. So you may hear the breeze blowing really nice. I'm coming to you from the lovely island of Grenada, and it is really a beautiful, sunny, breezy day today. This is part two of Was It Polygamy? Afternoon. Was it polygamy? So if you didn't see part one, we're not going to waste a lot of time. Well, not waste, it's not a waste, but we're not going to get into going over or revamping from the first one. The video was just last night. It's just that I didn't want to let it go past because this is very, um, I think this is real important, to share right now, not just for my life, but for others' lives. Because if you look at the first video, you hear about how my entire life I watched what could have been, which was one step away from polygamy, minus the part of introducing them and moving accordingly, like sisters opposed to enemies. So if I spent my entire life, listen, I'm sure I'm not the only one who spent their entire life. So that was one notch away. It was a form of it. I watched sisters live it all day long. You know, what? When you come crying about your man cheating, you live in it. It's just that you're not embracing it. So, anyway, we just having conversation about it. I love to hear. You don't have to agree. It don't matter if you agree or disagree. I love to hear some comments. So anyway, let's get into it. This is the part two. And I really just want to talk about the relationship building with the sisters and how we met. So the first, and before we start, would you please subscribe, like the thumbs up, and share with somebody, because this is just an interesting one, right? This is a good one. This is the good stuff. So, and cheers, by the way. Mm. Moringa and lime. I hope you've had your medicine today. So, the first sister that I shared about, we just gonna call her Empress. Empress number one. And the other sister, when I tell the next piece, because this is about two incidents that left a great impact in my life. And as I'm thinking and telling myself the truth, which I do more of these days, telling myself the truth, these are the two most impactful relationships ever in my life. I'm talking two relationships that left a great impact on my life that I never ever forgot. So if anything, you have ever had an incident happen in your life that you never ever forgot, equate it to that. So the first sister, like I said, the man, we're not even going to talk about the man because really he wasn't equipped to be in it. Let's just leave it at that. But I'm talking about the relationship building with the sister and her son that I met. So how we met. Now, the man, the king man, says one day that he had already told me about his baby's mother. Was in New York, and they were close, and the baby was small, so I knew it was new, and I knew they were still seeing each other. And he had also shared with me that they were actually living on her mother's property. So, and I was like, okay, so this particular day, we're going to New York, but we're going to do business. This was not supposed to be going to meet his baby's mother or anything. I wasn't even thinking. We are actually in it now. We're a couple. We're established couple. So this particular day, we arrive in New York, and we pull up in front of this beautiful townhouse. And he says, "This is Sharon's mom's house. This is where we live. We stay here. The house is here. It's all in one dwelling." And I'm looking at him like, "Really? You taking me to your baby's mother's house?" He said, "This is where we live." So we go in. father, Baba, kind of meets us at the door. And we walk inside. He says, this is natural, everybody. Everybody says, hey. Mom comes over, giving me a hug, greeting me. Ain't asking no questions. Dad welcomes me in. Baba welcomes me in. And he says, hold up. They said, where's she at? We're impressed. So mom says upstairs. So we both go upstairs. And she's on the bed, with her baby, newborn baby. And we all sit there. And he immediately starts talking about the plans that we've been talking about all along in my state, which is Delaware. So he talks about the house, the car. All this is coming. We've already looked at it. We've already went and seen this house. Yes, we want it. We've already looked at the car. Yes, we're going to get it. It was just a matter of going back and signing the documents. So he tells her she needs to get dressed because she's coming back to Delaware with us. He wants her to view the house and the car. And he says, I'm going to put each piece of property in each one of y'all's names. This is just how he went into the conversation. No preparation, no nothing. She's looking, I'm looking. He says, as a matter of fact, I'll be back. Y'all go ahead and get acquainted. And I'll be back. I got some runs to make. So we instantly just start kicking it. We just start kicking it. And we instantly connected. We instantly had respect for each other. We instantly loved each other's energy. Two totally different personalities. Two totally different, when I say. So he took quite a while. So now after talking, she said, well, come, let's go out. Let's go take a walk around my neighborhood and meet some of my friends, So I said, can we stop by a store, a tuck shop or whatever? And she said, yeah, it's a couple on the way. So we stop at a few stores, get a couple snacks, whatever. And on the way, there are some sisters on a stoop. We in New York. And they say, hey, and they call her name. Hey, Impress. Hey, Impress. And she go, hey. And they said, who's that with you? She said, this is King's woman. Now they know King is her man. She just had a baby by King. They said, King's woman. Now I get a little nervous because I'm not home. And ain't nobody really discussed nothing up until this point. And they said, okay. They said, hey, King's woman. How you doing? And I said, I'm doing great, goddesses. I'm doing great. Thank you. So Empress and I went on, continued walking. She said, those are my friends. She said, I know they tripping. And we laughed. We just laughed. And that was the end of that. We get back to the house. And that was the first initial conversation we had about who I am. Back at the house, we were just talking about, okay, it don't matter if he puts whatever in my name, your name. We were just kind of keeping it surfacey. So after she introduced me in that manner, oh, it's wide open now. So we get back and we sign for the house. We take the house. We sign for the vehicle. We take the vehicle. Names are put in places and we go from there. He dropped some cash and he said, go buy yourself something nice, because we was going to do something this evening. I can't remember what it was, and whatever. We needed to be dressed a certain way. So we went out and she asked me to help her pick out something beautiful and wrap her head for the first time. So we did that and we went out and we had a good time. That was that. From that point, I don't even think she returned back to New York, maybe just to do whatever, but her address, everybody's address was now in Delaware. It was a nice 2-bedroom house. It was perfect. It was perfect. And that was how we met. And we continued building our relationship without him. Our building had nothing to do with him. We understood we had him in common with us. And he was our king. And that was that. And the sister was awesome. Awesome. Like, I'll never forget her. She's a true sister. And it ain't got nothing to do with him. That sister was real. So, the second, now I'm just going through these how we met. If y'all have any questions, I'm open. Feel free to ask your questions. So now this is years later. That was the first time. We were young. Everybody was a little immature. And we kind of went into it without no conversation. I told you how it happened. You just take me to somebody's house. And so now, it's years later. I'm living on the island of Antigua and Barbuda. And I lived there from 2006 to 9. And I meet this brother. I'm at the end of my marriage. I know my marriage is over. And the two of them literally invite me to some type of, they were on the committee for the Black Liberation Day experience in Antigua. I think they were on the committee, the planning committee. That's what it was. And it was advertised, I think, on the radio. They wanted people to attend. And I was looking for things to attend, things that I'm interested in. I'm interested in African liberation, African anything. I mean, hey, that's who I am. So I'm trying to build outside of my husband. He was unconscious. I was the conscious one. My husband was really unconscious. It was a really big barrier between us and our relationship ending. We had nothing in common when it came to consciousness. He hated anything conscious, anything rooted in who we are. And I loved everything. So that wasn't going to last. So anyway, I knew that was over. And I ended up finding this place, and I'm calling him on the phone because on the TV, no, his radio station, which I was listening to, he had his own radio station. He was a radio personality. I had the number, and I called, he guided me there. First I couldn't find it, and he guided me there, and I found it. And when I walked in, it was him, his Empress wife, and a couple other guys. And I just sat there and listened to kind of get a feel what they were talking about. And he was like, well, Sister Natural, because I introduced myself, do you have anything? I said, well, it's my first time. I don't want to jump in like I know what's going on, but I've listened, I've taken notes, and I would like to attend the next meeting. And he was like, okay. And I made some copies while I was there. They had a copy business. They had you can transfer your music, your old music, like the cassette tapes or whatever, over to the CDs. CDs were just coming out. It was that type of business. They had nice business. And like I said, I was a school teacher on an island. Empress first wife, was a pharmacist in the local pharmacy next to the general hospital, and he had the business. So after that, he sent me the information to attend the next meeting. I thanked him, and he told me where he be at, because he also sold oils, which I was looking for China musk. Everywhere I go, I'm looking for African musk and China musk. That's just it. And probably some frankincense and myrrh, especially when I'm out of the country. I'm seeking those things. So he said, I got all of that. He sold out on the main road. He sold CDs. So when I would go by, because I was a teacher not too far away, I would begin to take my lunch break and ride by and things like that. We start to see each other. So a couple times I stopped, got a couple CDs, got me a couple bottles of body oil, some incense. He sold everything I loved. And couple times, about the third time we was in each other's presence, from him selling on the side of the road, he said, wow, Sister Natural, our energy is really strong. And I said, it really is. I mean, hey, we big people. And that was it. We left it at that. Never said no more about it. And then a couple more times, I start coming to their culture shop, the business. Getting a got a library membership. They had all African authors. I ended up bringing my students on a field trip there. He gave them all library cards, memberships. He served them veggie burgers, and they were all from the ghetto, so to speak. So they wasn't really, well, teacher, we don't want no veggie burger. But when they ate that veggie burger, that's like, this is good. And I said, okay, don't be so quick to not like something. So now I'm starting to bond with Empress, and we having a good time. We the same height, we the same thickness, we the same beauty, we the same intellect. Just beautiful sister, intelligent, smart. And so now we visiting each other. And he said, wow, Sister Natural, we'd like to come and see where you live. I invited him over. My husband was in the house at the time, but our marriage was clearly over. And but they came and they were like, wow, you got beautiful. I built my own home in Antigua. That's a whole nother story. And now I'm starting to frequent. Now they asking me if I would help out in the culture shop because like I said, she was a pharmacist. She had to go. And the king man did other things outside the business. Like he would sell on the side of the road on certain days. And I said, well, I can help you on those days. I think it was Tuesday, Thursdays, or Thursdays, or whatever. A couple days, but I was a school teacher, so I had to get down correcting papers. We all had our own thing, but I was able to assist, and it helped a lot. Then I start making veggie burgers because he was busy. He was real busy. And everybody starts saying, wow, who's making the veggie burgers? Them things is good. And they start coming in. The Rasta community start coming in. Everybody's natural. So I'm making my natural veggie burgers, lentil bean burgers. And the business was flourishing. And I did a little bit of decorating because I'm a craft person. I took some mud cloth and redecorated the windows and just made things look more culture-y. And everybody's loving it. The Empress is loving it. He's loving it. And then he said to me, he needed me. He needed me a part of his life. And I said, well, King, I hear you, but I have to share a few things with you. I am not a secret. I never will be. And you're married. And I said, now understand you're a Muslim. Actually, the only Muslim on the entire island. You're Muslim. But I don't know about your wife. She had already shared with me she comes from Seventh-day Adventists. And I just couldn't see her. But I said, I don't know. Hey, you know your wife. I said, okay, I'll tell you what.